In this video, I'm going to share with you how you can get your shirt signed, or well, how you can increase the opportunity to get your shirt signed. It was April 2019 and Juventus traveled to the Netherlands for the Champions League quarterfinal versus Ajax. And by that time, I've been collecting football shirts for about 4 years, and I thought it was time to get my first signed shirt. Back then, Ronaldo played at Juventus, so I wanted to try to meet Ronaldo and get my shirt signed. So I was super naive and I went to the airport in Amsterdam to try to meet Ronaldo, but I didn't, as you could expect. I was walking around the airport trying to find the gate where the Juventus team would arrive. But something I didn't know was that as soon as they got off the plane, they would get into the bus and that bus drove them to their hotel. Long story short, I never met the players, I only saw the bus from distance. This was my first serious attempt to meet a football player in real life in order to get my shirt signed. This was exactly 4 years ago, but now I can proudly say that I've met quite some big famous players. The tips and tricks I'm going to share with you in this video are based on my point of view. And for those of you who didn't know, I'm from the Netherlands, so in your country, these things might be a bit different, but I'm sure some of the things I'm going to tell you will apply to any country. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Starting off with the easiest method to get your shirt signed is by going to training sessions. Sometimes a football team will announce on one of their social media platforms that they're going to have a public training session. In that case, you can just go to the training center in order to attend one of the training sessions. And this is very cool because during these occasions, players are way more likely to sign your shirt and even take a picture with you. There are quite some teams in the Netherlands, the country I live in, that organize open training sessions from time to time. I've seen that big clubs like Arsenal, FC Barcelona, and Real Madrid, for example, don't organize as many public training sessions as before. As a matter of fact, I think it's really hard to even attend one of their training sessions. Whereas it's way easier to attend a training session of a less popular club. But sometimes bigger clubs do organize an open training session. For example, Olympique Lyonnais. A few years ago, I visited one of my cousins who lives in France, Lyon. So I went to the training center of Olympique Lyonnais and I met some locals over there. They basically told me that the club had announced the open training session on Twitter in a few days. So I came back a few days later and there were a lot of people. It was very chaotic. All the players took the time to sign shirts and take pictures with fans. I even met Memphis Depay and he signed my shirt, so that was a big success for me. Long story short, if your favorite team announces an open training session, just go there and have fun because it's very likely you can get your shirt signed. Method number 2 is go to the stadium and wait for the players. This method is actually a bit more complicated because it requires some specific information. Because yes, it's completely possible to go to the stadium and wait for players to get your shirt signed. I did this myself as well. But first of all, you gotta know where the players arrive, like the exact location where they arrive. Also, you have to know at what time they arrive before the match and at what time they leave the stadium after the match. So if you don't mind waiting and figuring out where the players arrive, this method is for you. Furthermore, I've had some success using this method myself as well. I'm gonna tell you. A month ago, Sevilla played versus PSV in the Europa League. I went to Eindhoven in order to get my Croatia shirt with Rakitic on the back signed. I was kind of late that day, but luckily I know exactly where the players leave the stadium in Eindhoven. So I waited for the players to leave the stadium after the match in order to get my Rakitic shirt signed. And guess what? Rakitic signed my shirt, which was very cool. I even got a video right over here. My theory kind of is if a player sees a shirt with his name on the back, he's likely to sign it, especially if you're one of a few people with a shirt with his name on the back. Method number 3 is to go to the players' hotels. This method is kind of hard in my opinion because I've never really tried it myself. Like as soon as you find out in what hotel they stay, it's kind of easy to go there and wait until they get out of the hotel. I mean, that can be a very good method, but the hardest part of this method is that you have to figure out in what hotel they even stay. And of course, the more experience you gain, the easier it's gonna become to determine in what kind of hotel they stay. But still, it's kind of hard because sometimes different teams stay in different hotels within the same city. So it's kind of hard to determine in which hotel they're gonna stay. But if you live in a quite big city and you know all the luxury hotels, then it might be a bit easier. But if you're not local, it's kind of hard in my opinion. I'm actually gonna try this method this month, so wish me luck. Method number 4 is going to the airport. As you know, I'm not really experienced with going to the airport in order to get my shirt signed, because I tried it once, like I told you before in this video, and I didn't get my shirt signed. I didn't even see any player. The problem is that every airport is different, because at some airports, the players don't even enter the airport, but they just hop on the bus and that bus drives them to their hotels. But if the team really enters the airport, then you should definitely try your luck. This might be easier abroad, like if you live in a country like Spain, Portugal, Italy, maybe even US. I don't know, but I'm just speaking from my experience. But if you're not sure, just go, because if you don't try, you'll never get your shirt signed and you may be very lucky. And you know what? Whatever method you're going to use to get your shirt signed, you also need some luck. Sometimes circumstances are not very favorable. For example, when the crowd is very big, or when there are kids screaming, or when it's raining, or stuff like that. But if you really want to get your shirt signed, you can increase your luck with the following things. Number 1, have a shirt with the player's name and number on the back. Like I said before in this video, players are way more likely to sign a shirt with their name on the back, like Rakitic did with my shirt. Number 2, be polite and don't scream, because by screaming, you only want to make the players leave as soon as possible. Number 3, and this is kind of hard, I know, but if you speak a player's language, use it. I remember when I was in Lyon in France, I wanted to meet Memphis Depay. He's from the Netherlands, just like me, so we could speak Dutch. I kind of used that in my favor because there was a huge crowd in front of me. As soon as he noticed that I could speak Dutch, he said to me, "Yeah man, come here, come here." And he signed my shirt and we could take a picture. I speak a bunch of other languages as well, and I've used this method quite sometimes and it works very well. Alright guys, I hope you've got a good idea of how I got all of my shirts signed by now. Remember that having fun will most definitely get you there. And if I can get all these shirts signed, why couldn't you? Just have fun, don't give up, and keep trying, because with the experience you gain, you'll definitely get there. So I hope you like this video. See you next time.